Previously on Imagine Dungeons, Jody kind of leads Donny back to her cottage. He's like, feel free to sit down here. There's like a living room. She's clearly a hoarder. There's stuff all over the place. She snaps her fingers and 2 quills come flying in from the other room. Here's the thing. You and Sui clearly have a connection, and I would never want to come between that. At the same time, I paid good money for this hog, and this is one that is not easy for me to get. And so, here's our deal. You promise me, I need 2 promises from you. One is that you're going to go make things right with this woman.
Hala was my betrothed. It was arranged, and she was a good friend, and there was never really any romance there or anything, but damn, I shouldn't have.
The other promise I need you to make me, you mentioned earlier who takes care of Jody. I get bored out here sometimes. And one thing I can't get enough of is stories. I'm going to give you a quill, and I want you to log your stories for me so I can stay entertained out here.
That's already a muscle I've been flexing for many years, Jody. I'd be happy to do that for you. This means more to me than I think you know. This is a gift. Hey, Joe. Hope I can call you that. Suits you, friend. Appreciate this, Jody. Well, where to begin? I'm glad you asked me to jot to you. Fun to have the quill floating around, but, well, with a world full of demons and vampirates and boogeymen, stories are just about all's worth a damn. This one's about us. Old Big Rig Ridley, Sweet Scents Sue, our little cook, Fast Fingers Fiddles was kind of sticky around your place, and Glint Wind Wrangler, more of that later. Of course, then there was me. Oh, and that cute little beaming bag of bolts, Davy. The story starts the day we met in the jail cell of Captain Vance's pirate ship. He's a vampirate. We were each marked. Had all the mind to turn us into one of them. Vampirates, that is. We found ourselves a magic whistle. As one does, we blew it. And wouldn't you know it, a kraken showed up to distract the pirates so we could make our escape. That's when we found out why Glint had been wearing that glove. Enter his new namesake. He shot out a gust of wind from his glowing hand and launched our lifeboat into the open water. Not before we grabbed Vance's right-hand vamp, good old Leadhead. Made him our new captain. We moved forward down the river together. 'Cause that's all that you can do, just plop down in that river and let the water carry you. Back at it, Joe. Really thinking you'll take to that name. Found out pretty quickly that the vampirates were tracking us down the river by those magic marks on our wrists. Not good at all. On our way down the river, we bumped and bimped and stumbled upon a tower, home of your good buddy, Ramshackle the Wizard. Outside Ramshackle's house, like right where he'd hang his socks to dry, we met 2 unique characters. First was a little goblin named Ingo, who asked us to do him a favor. We're kind folks, so we obliged. Well, turns out he wanted us to steal a wyvern egg. Sound familiar? Goes to show that you gotta be careful who you agree to owe a favor. I'm sure you knew that. The second was a man, or maybe it was a fox, by the name of Lucius. He didn't offer much in the way of explanation. All his answers to our questions were pretty cryptic, but something I'm used to. Like there was something major he was hiding from us. Told us he could help us get these marks lifted off our wrists and gave us his business card so we could give him a ring on Ridley's little shell phone he had. Well, we got inside Ramshackle's house, and in a wild twist of fate, it turns out Ridley's brother-in-law, Swill, had captured old Rammy and was trying to steal his treasure. What's worse is Swill had brought his son Snaps along for the ride and left him to his own devices. His own devices being primarily cooking lots and lots of nachos. That's chips with cheese all over them. He tends to smother them and all sorts of things. Yeah, I'm sure you've had them. Well, we got into a cave, and then after a tussle with Swill, it caved into the wizard's basement, and he and Ramshackle got away. We tore off down that river again after him, thanks to some pointers from a 12-fingered monkey, and ended up in Weed Warren, home of the chameleon folk. We weren't the only guests they were entertaining, though. Turns out some of Vance's vampire buddies tracked us down the river. And I'm sure, Joe, you've heard of the saying, one thing leads to another. Well, in this case, a flaming ring of mushrooms led to an absolute ass whooping of those vampires. And I'll tell you something. Between me and you, during that fight, we started to realize something about our little group. Begun to think of ourselves as maybe a little family. Well, Jojo, the story... is that pushing it a little bit? All right, Joe. Story continues. And so did we down that river again. Vampire asses thoroughly kicked in hot pursuit of Swill and Shackle. Chameleon folk back in Weed Warren told us we needed to come find you at Crossfork. Enter the best part of our story. That's what we did. Believe me, we were kyber-smacked when we saw all of your amazing animals. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that the crown jewel of your magical menagerie is, of course, my sweet Suey. I can never thank you enough for keeping this big old dire hog safe for me after Holla dropped her off with you. I gotta admit, we did eyeball those wyvern eggs of yours, as I'd said. We owed that favor to Ingo, after all. But we didn't steal one. At all. So don't think we did. There was this weird instance of Ridley finding a magical scale. He held it in his hand, and without warning, that sucker zipped right to Ridley's shell, attached itself there. Like a leech on Susan. Well, maybe I'll share that in another letter, or I'll let her write to you. I saw some power go through him, but he seemed normal after that, so not sure what that's all about. Anyway, as you remember, you worked a little of your Crossfork magic and told us where to find Ramshackle. Turns out, he and Swill got themselves captured up by none other than the Ghaash'kalla, vampire boogeyman of Gatherhold. If you think by now we'd have learned to leave well alone, well, maybe you don't know us as well as I thought you did. We hightailed it across the desert, as I know my little sweet Suey Panchetta always can, to rescue Rammy, and now Swill from the boogeyman. While we were riding, Glint let us know he'd been having dreams. Visions, more like, of the distant past. Lucius, our fox friend, was in them. And so was Ramshackle. He inhabited the body of some fellow named Dale and seemed to be accessing significant events in Dale's life. These dreams don't seem to be affecting Glint too much, though. Just keeping him from getting a good night's shut-eye. Well, the fam got to Ghaash'kalla's lair, and, well, it turns out the boogeyman couldn't really boogie. We rescued your buddy Ramshackle, and he was right as rain, if a little shaken up and scattered. That may have been a pre-existing condition, though. Unfortunately, the Ghaash'kalla's minions had done some kind of ritual on Swill. Started to transform him into a dragon or something. At any rate, Swill was and is completely unresponsive. We're hoping there's some powerful cleric who can heal him up for us. Kind of like when me and the buddies used to just take big rocks and break them open and hope there was something glowing and glittering inside. Well, we'll just have to see. Maybe we won't crack his head open, but you get the gist. Turns out, old Swill's soul got split in two by whatever the Groker's minions did to him, Joe. That's not something the fella usually recovers from on his own, so, on your advice, we set course for Gatherhold to find a cleric for him. But first, we weren't going to try and be doggy paddling down. We needed a ship. Talked to your old buddy, Blindo, the moon monkey, about chartering his airship. Only problem? He didn't have a crew. Well, we took ourselves a quick jaunt down to the swamps and freed some elementals, as one would, from a binding contract to solve that particular problem. When we get back to your farm, or zoo, you were meeting with Lord Bartholomew, that new political leader from Gatherhold, and y'all were discussing something about those wyvern eggs. Forgive us, but we sure did need one of those eggs for Ingo, as you remember. So, we did what any highly motivated, dramatically inclined, incredibly good-looking crew would do. We had ourselves a little heist. We snuck that egg right out from under old Barty's nose. Everything went perfectly until it didn't. See, it was a setup. Fiddlesticks, who had been disguising herself with a magic ring this whole time, is the daughter of Lord Bartholomew. And he didn't take too kindly to being robbed by his own blood. We hightailed it out of there on our airship now, but Lord Bartholomew sent his buddies, our old enemies Vance and the vampirates, after us. It was a massive clash in the sky. Thankfully, I was there, so it'll go down in history. Wyverns, cannonballs, flying vampires, all zipping through the air, Joe. Sue even summoned an angel, Coatl, right from her magic ring. We made easy work of most of all of them, except for tough old Vance. Wasn't too happy to see his former right-hand man, Leadhead, as our captain, and quicker than any of us could stop him, Vance threw the good captain overboard. Quick as a flash, this whole crew leapt into action. I haven't even seen so many folks willing to risk so much for somebody they just met in all my life. Through a miraculous amount of coordination and, frankly, a chance roll of the dice, Leadhead was saved. Once he was back on our ship, sweet little Davy walked right up to him, put his hat back on his head, and said his first word. "Captain." In all the chaos of the rescue, Vance got away again. I like to think we got him pretty well licked, though. He'd think twice before tangling with us again. So, that just about brings you up to speed, Joe. I will add a little P.S. here. If you see Holla, you can go ahead and tell her which way I went. Thanks, Joe.